All right, so I wasn't planning on making any video today, but there has been some breaking news this morning pertaining to some leaked texts coming from the young Republicans in wherever the fuck, some inbred red state, I'm sure. But regardless, I haven't read any of the texts. I've saved a bunch of content to go through with you guys, and hopefully we walk away having condemned these terrible texts and frankly Republican violence being perpetuated by our future lawmakers. Whether that is the case coming from the Republican side is yet to be seen. So let's just get right into it, shall we? All right, we're off to a great start. I love Hitler. Leaked messages expose young Republicans' racist chat. Okay, we're off to a flyer. I guess my first initial thought is, are we surprised? Are we surprised that a bunch of conservative men, I'm assuming they're men at the moment, I can't see them as being anything other than white conservative men. Are we surprised that these conservative men feel the wanting and needing to expose themselves like this as neo-Nazis, especially under a regime that has no problem platforming said Nazis? Regardless, let's have a look. We're entering this as a blank slate with an objective mind. Okay. I love Hitler. Leaked messages expose young Republicans' racist chat. Thousands of private messages reveal young GOP leaders joking about gas chambers, slavery, and rape. Okay, everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. When do we bring that side out? You're giving nationals too much credit and expecting the Jew to be honest. Great, I love Hitler. Also, we are officially under consideration for a Trump endorsement. Shocker. I'd go to the zoo if I wanted to watch a monkey play ball. If we ever had a leak of this chat, we would be cooked for real. Kick the bitch. Boom, they're dead. It was rape. He also hates Jews. They love the watermelon people. Stay in the closet, what I assume is the F slur. That girl is fully R-slurred, I guess. Right. Leaders of young Republican group throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked, but they kept typing anyway. They refer to black people as monkeys and the watermelon people, and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about raping their enemies and driving them to suicide, lauded Republicans who they believed supported slavery. Okay. Oh, we've got names. William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republicans vice chair. Kansas, is that an inbred red state? Did I soul read that out of nowhere? Use the words N-word. I'm not going to say the N-word. Variations of a racial slur more than a dozen times in the chat. Bobby Walker, classic Republican name. The vice chair of the New York Young Republicans at the time referred to rape as epic. Peter, who at the time was chair of the same organization, wrote in a message sent in June that everyone that votes no is going to the gas chambers, referring to an upcoming vote on whether he should become chair of Young Republican National Federation. I'm going to create some of the greatest psychological torture methods known to man. We only want true believers. Hey. Can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the Hitler aesthetic. I'm ready to watch people burn now. So one thing I'm hoping to see is a little bit of accountability on the side of Republicans, right? These chat messages are objectively bad, right? Objectively horrifying. And you could argue that, yeah, they're kids, but they're kids trying to get into an institution, a political institution that governs over people. And they feel safe enough to spew these words whilst doing that, which leads me to believe the Republican platform, the Republican institution that they're looking up to, gives them a safe space to do that. Because we see some of the rhetoric that I've touched on in the past with Trump about his enemies, about co-opting religion, my latest video on the main channel, us versus them type shit. So they feel safe enough to talk about this sort of stuff, and their intent is to become Republicans in the future. Quite shocking. 2,900 pages of chats shared among dozen millennial Gen Z Republican between early January, mid-August, yada yada yada. Together, the messages reveal a culture where racist, anti-Semitic, and violent rhetoric circulate freely, and where the Trump-era loosening of political norms has made such talk feel less taboo amongst those positioning themselves as the party's next leaders. It's quite a stark contrast between Republicans and Democrats. Democrats have been paying people like Harry Sisson to talk about their political beliefs. Dean Withers, Parker, who I was just watching debate a Trump supporter. If something of this magnitude came out against them, what what would the reaction be? I think there was a little back and forth with the Unfuck America tour, but that went unaccounted for the most part, from what I could find from Dean and Parker. But that's nowhere near the level of absolutely fucked that we're seeing from an official Republican body. Like, sure, you can argue that Dean Withers, Harry Sisson, and all those people are working with the DNC as a part of their platform. These people in the article, these leaked text messages, people had full intent of running for office, right? These aren't social media influence. These are people who want power, who want to be in the political atmosphere, right? And again, the Republican Party has given them a safe space to be anti-Semitic, to be racist, because what else is there to be a Republican these days? The dynamic of easy racism and casual cruelty played out in the dark, vivid fashion inside the chats, where campaign talk and party gossip blurred into a stream of slurs and violent fantasies. Is this one of those guys? Hey, yeah, he looks like someone who would be a piece of shit. God damn, how old is he? Hope he's younger than me, because he looks horrible. Trump's too busy burning the Epstein files. Alex Dwyer, the chair of the Kansas Young Republicans, wrote in one instance. Okay, maybe they're not all bad. Even the Republicans know what Trump's doing. That's fucking wild. Peter claimed that the release of the chat is part of a highly coordinated year-long character assassination led by Gavin Wax and the New York City Young Republicans Club. So they're already playing the victim game, and it hasn't even been 24 hours. Wax, a staffer in Trump's State Department, formerly led the New York Young Republican Club, a separate city-based group that is at odds with the state organization, New York State Young Republicans. He declined to comment, probably for his own safety. Republicans are pretty violent these days. Mixed into formal conversations about whipping votes, social media strategy, and logistics, the members of the chat slung around an array of slurs, which Politico is republishing to show how they spoke. F-slur, R-slur, N-word, 251 times combined by these Republican representatives. Is this another one? Oh my God, it's Bobby Walker. Yeah, he looks like a Republican. Hey. To look so soulless, so seemingly young, that's an achievement. All right. Oh, another one just dropped. God, why do all Republicans look like the same variation of this guy? Is this what crawled out of the couch after JD Vance was done fucking it? All right, we're gonna move on to the segment of the broadcast where we look at Twitter. All right, so we started there. It's always the dudes that look like this. Oh my God, this is another Republican Nazi just dropped. That's some crazy hair. What are the logistics on that one? It's like the great wave of Kanagawa. Jeez, look at that thing. It's surf on that. It's always the dudes that look like this. Yep. Funny rebuttal. Yeah, tell me about it, with a photo of Olivia Giuliano, who has not gone on record for being a Nazi. Is that the rebuttal they're trying to play? That's unfortunate. Look at this dude. Charlie Kirk is a sick racist piece of trash. Put the Klan hood on already, Charlie. Fuck, he cooked with that. But again, calling a white man racist is a little bit different to calling people of color monkeys, telling people to reinstate the gas chambers, seeking endorsement from Trump. A little bit different. They have no place in the party. They can head over to Democrats, where they support terror. Okay, interesting. You see, they obviously were welcomed into the party because they were in the party, right? Democrats supporting terror. Not sure what we mean by that either. But they obviously were accepted in the Republican Party because that's where they work. That's where those 27,000 messages were sent in a Republican Party chat. So another good way to deflect, but the execution was quite poor. Mike Johnson's friend, Bobby Walker, said rape is epic. Of course, Mike Johnson, the creep, is in amongst all of these people. We've seen the kind of awful things the left endorses publicly and openly. So this shaming tactic just doesn't hit as hard anymore. It doesn't hit as hard anymore because you're a fucking idiot and you don't know how to discern yourself from Nazis. I'd love to see the leaked messages between Clinton and Monty. Again, Clinton got his dick wet, allegedly. Trump also got his dick wet, following the wrong sort of rationale and means to an end for that one. Shout out to the Epstein files. Still unreleased, by the way. Right, Mehdi Hassan. Just a screenshot. Oh, JD Vance said something. This ought to be worth it. This is far worse than anything said in a college group chat. The deflection coming from the leadership. Fucking wild. Calling people slurs. Outdated slurs from when slavery existed. Far worse than anything said in a college group chat, and the guy who said it could become the AG of Virginia. I refuse to join the pearl clutching, The powerful people call for political violence. What's this? Okay. There's a guy called Jay. I guess he's important in Virginia. You weren't simply asking questions and you know it. I genuinely was. I wasn't attacking you. I was trying to understand your logic. You weren't trying to understand. You were talking about hoping Jennifer Gilbert's children would die. Yes, I've told you this before. Only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy. Right, I don't know the context of that, but I can only assume it relates to the measures of legislation that the Republicans are passing, or in some cases not passing, to protect the livelihoods of children. For example, gun violence. For example, school shooting. For example, reduce funding for Medicaid for rural families and families who don't meet a certain tax threshold. You know, those sorts of things that Republicans just passed by one vote. And who was the deciding vote for that one? JD Vance. I think in conservative circles, JD Vance is seen as like a voice of reason because he's so like slimy with his tongue and how he talks, but to the outside he's just a fucking idiot. Seriously, fuck Gavin Wax. Should be immediately blacklisted from any political circle. Zero tolerance for friendly fire. Is that what that is? So I can only assume that Gavin was the one who leaked the chats to Politico, and now conservatives are having a meltdown over Gavin not wanting to associate himself with the Nazis. Young Republicans Club President Gavin Wax extorted Mike Bartels to turn over the Telegram messages to him. Wax leaked them to Politico. Honestly, yeah, valid, Gavin. Yeah, valid. Good job. A Republican with ideals is rare to come by these days. We just saw your vice president sort of de-escalating the sentiment, but I digress. All right, Gavin Wax is a traitor to America. Sold out young conservatives for Politico for shekels. Okay. Does he live in Israel? He is scum. He should be immediately kicked out of every right-wing circle that he is in. This is the face of weakness. That face, by the way, did he leak the chats or did he willingly give them away because his constituents, his peers were being racist, were being misogynistic, were being neo-Nazis even? You know it's bad when the main neo-Nazi, Nick J. Fuentes, calls you out for it. I think I saw Matt Walsh crying about something earlier. I believe it was this one. If you're a conservative and you have a problem with someone on the right, you can reach out to them privately and express your concerns. Attacking and denouncing your own people is in public is a bitch move. So calling Nazi, rape, and slavery lovers your people is wild. Correct. Fucking crazy. But yeah, no. In my opinion, Gavin did the right thing. He saw that he was a part of some very suspicious conservative circles. The activity in those circles was quite suspicious, and he took he took action. He held those people accountable, and now they're paying the price. It's worrying to have some conservative mouthpieces like, I guess JD Vance is the vice president, but it is concerning to have powerful conservatives defending these Nazis. Defending people who willingly said the N-word 250 times in those group chats. Defending the people who said reinstate the gas chambers. The people who said rape is epic. It's kind of a worry that when we look to the head honchos of conservatism, we see that sort of shit, you know? Right, let's hear from some verified voices on the left.
We have some bombshell news right now. Politico just dropped an exclusive article showing text messages between young Republican leaders from across the country praising Hitler, using the N-word dozens of times.
I said this earlier in the video. Are we surprised? So after reading all the messages, all the text messages that were posted in the article, are we surprised at all that vile people like this exist in Republican circles? Not just conservative circles, right? Republican circles. Because the conservatives on Twitter can blame leftists for the amount of violence they're spewing, apparently. We're incredibly violent. That's just leftists. You look at the DNC, what's going on there? Any calls for violence, anything? No, when we look at the Republican circles, what we do see is the contents of those messages. You know, bring back the gas chambers, calling people of color monkeys, using all those slurs, saying the N-word 250 times. That's not just conservatives. That's Republicans. That's an official branch of the Republican Party. Young Republicans. It's vile. And then they have no problem turning around and playing the victims for their own kind. Like, yeah, Gavin shouldn't have leaked those messages, apparently. So they have no problem platforming the neo-Nazi ideals in the article. When one of their own leaks it, they go after him. It's pathetic.
Right now, in an era where the Trump White House has really enabled some of the worst language and actions we've seen.
That's exactly it. So conservatives are calling for the left to tone down the rhetoric, where we just heard months worth of text messages. We just saw month worth of text messages of them spewing neo-Nazi shit. Like, that is fucking ironic. Not only that, but they know it. They knowingly get away with it because they have no problem platforming those ideals. They stand by it. We just saw it earlier in the video. Matt Walsh. Those are our people. It's wild. It's sick.
Hey, but it's also entirely expected if you've been paying attention to the Republican Party since Donald Trump got into office. Leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried what would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked, and then it got leaked. They referred to black people as this and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked. William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republican, said, "Great, I love blank." And notice how Alex Dwyer put a smiley face on that video, but it is truly way. I highly recommend you go read that Politico article because there's far more than I can fit into this one video, but it is truly appalling. This is the kind of rhetoric, the kind of behavior that Donald Trump has inspired. All of those people have sworn allegiance to Donald Trump. It's not by accident.
That's exactly it. And Donald Trump has had no problem surrounding himself with people with similar ideals. It is the Republican Party. That is what they stand for. It's disturbing, truly. All right, what is this? Okay, it's an official statement. We are appalled by the vile and inexcusable language revealed in the Politico article published today. Such behavior is disgraceful, unbecoming of any Republican, evidently not if it's months worth of DMs, stands in direct opposition to the values our movement represents. Again, evidently not. Those involved must immediately resign from all positions within their state and local young Republican organizations. Must hold ourselves to the highest standards of integrity, respect, and professionalism. May I remind you that the only reason that they had to make a statement like that, right, is because they got caught, is because the messages were leaked by one of their own. That is the only reason why they felt the need to publish a statement like that. They got caught. They got caught out. I mean, these messages were spanning months back, and only now it's become apparent after using the N-word 250 times, after using all those slurs. Make no mistake from anything any Republican says. This is what they stand for. This is what conservatism stands for, especially in circles of young men seeking to become those people in power. We saw it in Australia as well when a university young conservative club was laughing in the face of sexual violence, a study about sexual violence. It was months ago. Nothing happened to the guys because they're conservative men. Nothing ever happens to them. They never hold themselves accountable. The only reason that this message has come out is because one person went against the grain of conservatism and leaked those messages. And now he's being villainized by key voices on the conservative side. Tim Pool, Nick Fuentes, Matt Walsh we just saw, and JD Vance is downplaying the rhetoric as well, because a Democrat apparently said something along the lines of to change legislation is to feel the pain from it going unchanged, which I assume is about what Republicans have done and what Republicans are not doing in the realm of gun violence. This is what the Republican Party stands, this sort of rhetoric. Make no mistake. And while they can call for the rhetoric to shift on the left all they want, that means fuck all, when this will go untouched by the news cycle after a week, untouched by more conservative voices after today. Charlie Kirk's whatever the fuck, fucking 5th memorial, which took place today. I think it's his birthday. Oh my God, happy birthday. You would have loved Ghost of Yote if you were still alive. Sorry, bud. Yeah, this is genuine neo-Nazi shit, and it will go unrecognized by the Republican Party. The only reason why it was recognized by the Young Republicans institution is because the chats were leaked. Horrible, truly. Horrible shit. Spare me the fake outrage from any rhetoric on the left. This is genuinely harmful for the community, and they're going to be too much of a pussy to fight back against their own party.